So real quick, I made a mistake in my Wiseman video earlier. When I said the Warriors can receive a player in a sign and trade, they cannot because they're over the tax apron by a lot. Anyway, let's talk about Paul George, who to me really did just play the best game of his career. I mean, it's the most points he's ever scored in a playoff game. The passing was there, the efficiency was insane, and given the stakes, I think it's fair to say this is the best game we've ever seen of Paul George. I mean, a lot of it was not rocket science, man. It was isolations. It was step-back threes. I mean, he crossed up CP on one of them. Might have pushed him a little bit. Whatever. He had the foul drawn on that one Crowder one where Crowder got him in the face. He got Celtics legend Nader a couple times on some step-backs. He had that one layup where he just beat Torrey Craig and the help defense was a little slow. Saric actually pushed him when he was in the air. They didn't call it. And to go along with that, I thought the Clippers did some cool things with him off the ball to get the Suns to commit to him. Like, I think at least one of the Reggie Jackson threes that he had in the fourth quarter was because of PG moving a little bit, whether it was setting a screen or it was just something besides just a routine pass to Jackson. I can't remember it all off the top of my head now. But yeah, PG was amazing. And as far as what the Suns could have done differently, I mean, look, he did make some shots, and they put their best guys on him between Bridges, Crowder, Torrey Craig. Pretty much none of it was working. I mean, the only other thing I could think of would be to double team him and just hope that he misses some of those shots. I mean, he was going at guys on switches a bit, whether it's Campaign or CP, but that was not every possession, of course. But it was not just PG. I mean, I mentioned Reggie Jackson there. Marcus Morris made what felt like every single one of his Carmelo Anthony-esque shots in this game, the turnarounds and all that, especially first quarter, first half overall, over Devin Booker. And Phoenix will, I imagine, not get super freaked out over that. I mean, look, Marcus Morris, he had this game, but he's had a bunch of bad games, and it's not like he does that every night. So the odds say we got the Marcus Morris game and it's not going to pop up again. Now, if he is making just turnaround after turnaround and PG's hitting all the shots in Game 6, well, then we're probably going to go to a Game 7. I mean, there's not a lot you can do if two guys just can't miss through different parts of the game, you know what I mean? And also Boogie was huge in this. I mean, not even just him getting his baskets, but like the plays where he was in the post and then there was cut action. Like Terrence Mann had that one play. There was another one with Batum that was off of a Boogie cut. And while the Suns eventually did start torching DeMarcus on screens, like late third, early fourth, there was a Booker shot that he made over Cousins. There was, I think, a layup that Booker got as well. I think Campaign made a floater over Boogie as well. DeMarcus still had some moments on defense. Like, there was that one play where he helped out on Booker in the corner, and it was a trap, and then the Clippers just scrambled and got a steal out of that. That was huge. So Boogie held up pretty all right. And speaking of the centers, well, there wasn't a center out there all the time for the Clippers because, of course, they were small for a lot of it with Zubats not playing because he's hurt. And for the Suns' sake, I don't know if they really did enough to make the Clippers pay for going small. I mean, Ayton at the end of the game, or at least in the fourth quarter when I took a look, he had like 11 rebounds, 4 offensive, so that's cool. Could probably ask him to do a little bit more. But I feel like they could just throw it to Ayton a little bit more as well. I mean, I would like to think that he could dominate the Clippers' small lineups. And whether it's him not getting in position enough, the Suns not looking for him enough, it hasn't totally happened, at least in this game. I mean, the Clippers, there was like a little bit of a zone early on. The switching defense was, of course, pretty frequent. It was Marcus Morris on him a lot of time, who's the biggest guy that they've got. I mean, Batum's tall, but he's not as sturdy as Morris. And I'm just going to say it again, I think Ayton can have success there. I mean, I do remember there was one turnaround jumper on the baseline that Ayton had. I'm sure the Clippers will live with that. But for the Suns' sake, it's got to be more than that. I feel like there just needs to be more plays, especially because the Phoenix offense, partially against the Clippers' switching defense, did look a little flat at times. Well, there's your release valve. It's get it to Ayton, and hopefully he's going to get fouled or he's going to just create open shots for other guys. I mean, that's another thing is that Phoenix, they do really well when the ball's zipping around with like Mikal Bridges cutting to the basket and stuff. And I feel like with the switching defense, it makes it a little tougher for guys to get free for that sort of stuff. So I think that's the big adjustment for Game 6. If we're going to see more of the Clippers' small lineup, is just you got to make it an emphasis with Ayton. I mean, look, in these playoffs, we've seen him outplay Anthony Davis. We've seen him play great against Denver, play Jokic to a stalemate at times in that series. I would really doubt that he can't do the same thing against the Clippers' small lineups. I mean, earlier in the series, that was the reason they didn't go small, because Ayton would make him pay. So maybe this was just a bit of a weird game. And as far as how you can help him out besides just throwing it to him, I mean, I feel like just keep it simple. Like have him set some screens and try to get the matchup you want. And if they won't switch, then you could try to have him just like do some slip screens, dive to the basket right away. Look for him early in possessions, especially in transition. I mean, there was one play I remember where Boogie got good position in transition and Paul George just threw it to him immediately. Can the Suns not do the same exact thing with DeAndre Ayton? So that's got to be the big adjustment to me. Now, all this said, look, if PG misses 4 more of the tough shots that he took tonight and Marcus Morris has like a normal good game, not a outlier game, then perhaps Phoenix wins. But at the same time, that happens every game. Like there's always 1 or 2 dudes who just go crazy. Chris Middleton did it yesterday. Marcus Morris did it today. The next time these two teams play, it could be Mikal Bridges with 33 points. I don't know. This is how it goes. So we'll see there. Anything else I can think of? I mean, does one guy need to become the designated Paul George defender, or is it better to just keep throwing different guys at him? I mean, obviously, in the flow of the game, everyone's going to end up on him. It's just how it goes. You can't have one dude always stick to him. It would be impossible. But specifically in the half-court sets, like, should it always be Mikal Bridges? In terms of just defensive fundamentals and length, I guess he would be your best option, but Crowder and Torrey Craig can match up with PG physically a little bit more. I don't know. The other thing is, if you're going to bring double teams on PG more, who are you leaving open on this Clippers team? I don't really know, because they can all shoot. I mean, yeah, you're more content with leaving Patrick Beverley open than you are Reggie Jackson, but I mean, the Clippers have been, the best three-point shooting team the whole playoffs, the whole season, whatever it is. Even without Kawhi, they're still lethal, so it's tough, man. I think you just got to play really sturdy defense, keep them off the line as much as you can, and just execute as well as you can on offense. And I think while the Suns' defense was not perfect, I really think just forgetting that Ayton was out there was probably their biggest mistake in this game. And he was the best player in the last game, as you remember, at least in my opinion he was. So yeah, look for the big guy. I think that's the big thing for Phoenix.